Hello. Sorry, I just wanted to piss off Sotos. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my read along of episode 84. I mean, chapter. It says in the manga, though, episode 84. But anyway, it's chapter 84 of Attack on Titan, Midnight Sun. Midnight Sun. Ooh, we're in a tight spot here. It's the choice. We have to make the choice. Oh my god. Sorry, I watched Inglourious Bastards and now that's all I want to say ever. Oh my god. Let's begin. In the live chat, firstly, we have the we have Cherry, Dark Shadow, the Shining Sotos, Modru, and I'm not sure, maybe Mike is here. Mike, should I have told Hanku you sent him the link? I'm not sure. If you did, I don't know how that goes. I remember this episode. Pain. I'm happy Mira's not around. You just remind me of what she does. Correcting you. Her guilt face. He's like Gloria when she says the doggy dog world. It's a wonderful world full of doggies. Doggy dogs. Okay. Do you two have any idea what you are doing? We're talking about Erwin Smith, the commander of the Survey Corps. You're telling me to sit here and let him die? There's no time. Get out of my way. Eren, look past your own feelings. My feelings? Why did you hesitate before handing over the injection? I was considering the possibility that Erwin was alive. I don't see how you could ever have predicted that Flush would bring the dying commander here. There's always hope. You're right, but now that Erwin is here, we're using it on him. Oof. Well, I can't say that it doesn't please me somewhat to see Eren being punched in the face, but sadly this is young Eren, and I am quite a little sad to see him. Oof, but then obviously that makes Mikasa jump into action and grab him at the throat. Anyway, Flush says, hey! Or exclaims. And the Mikasa actually overpowered him, but I mean, he had the crazy fighting to get here, so he's probably really tired, you know? He's getting weak. I could take it from him by force. You must know it too. Humanity can never defeat the Titans without Erwin's strength. He's right, Mikasa. You need to stop acting crazy. But then he's scared of her angry look. I wish to see... This is a nice moment where he tries to say something and then she just looks at him angrily and he's like, ugh. I want to see that again. Did we see that again in season 4? Okie dokie. It got auto-corrected to Okie Dojo. Without Armin, we can't. Eren, if we don't have Armin, we can't win. Hasn't that always been true? And this is where Eren has one of his best moments, honestly. We used that boulder to block Trost district and save it. We figured out Annie's true identity and came up with a plan to advance through Titan territory during the night, all thanks to Armin. Armin exposed Reiner when he was trying to stay hidden, and he's the only reason we defeated Bertolt. It was all because of Armin. It's not me or the commander who's going to save humanity. It's Armin. Isn't that right, Mikasa? And then she grabs the case. Please, give it to me. The one who will save humanity is Commander Erwin. Be quiet. You think I'm going to stay quiet? You're not the only one suffering here. You don't know it yet, but there isn't a single living soldier left on the other side of that wall. The Beast Titan killed them all. He threw crushed rocks through them. They were all smashed to a pulp. Every one of us thought we were goners, but Commander Erwin was the one exception. He figured out a plan that would let him get his teeth into that monster's neck and carried it out. Well, he figured out a plan that could help Levi kill the Beast Titan. But is the Beast Titan dead? I'm kidding though. That's not Erwin's fault. That's Levi's fault. Please don't kill me, Cherry. I love Levi too. I'm just joking. He used the lives of every one of us recruits as bait, all so that Captain Levi could ambush the beast. According to plan, we all ended up in pieces. Gordon, Sandra, Marlo, none of them died thinking how noble their sacrifices would be. I'm sure what they all felt at the end was fear. When I found Commander Erwin still breathing, I was going to put him out of his misery. But then, I decided I was treating him too gently. Perhaps he did need to spend more time in this hell. And that's when I realized the only one who can destroy all the Titans is the devil himself. And this is why I think this specific little fucking speech of this fuck ass, sorry, he's not a fuck ass yet, but this little speech of this little bitch and how he misunderstood Erwin, in my opinion, from my perspective and Levi's perspective, this is why Levi chose Armin. Because if this is how the world is going to see Erwin and all that he sacrificed and done, well, then it's his job is done. He should rest in peace. And my mission is to bring the devil back to life. That's why when all the others died bravely like a coward, I lived. So, get out of my way. Stop it! And then, Hans. Is that Hans? Wait. No way. How could this... That's... Man, Armin looks bad. Armin deserves to live. Even just after how he looks when he died, he deserves to live a life where he can die a human being and not a fucking Vienna with eyes. If you girls want to fight, you can always put on your bikinis and fight in the mud pit. Okay, so then Levi looks at the injection. He grabs it. Ah! Mikasa, we still need Erwin. The Soviet corpse has nearly been wiped out. If the commander dies too, humanity will lose its symbol. We can't allow the flames of hope to be extinguished within the walls. But Armin could do that too. Yes, Armin is an incredible talent, but our battle is nowhere near over. We still need Erwin's experience and leadership to... I have people I wish I could bring back too, hundreds of them. Ever since I joined the Survey Corps, every day has brought a new farewell. But you understand, don't you? Everyone you meet will be parted from you one day. I know it's difficult to accept. It's hard to stay sane living like that. It's painful. So painful, I know that. But even so, we need to move forward. That's a very nice picture of Hans and Mikasa. Captain, have you heard of the ocean? It's like a gigantic lake that stretches far beyond the horizon. Not only that, apparently it's all made out of salt water. That's what Armin said. Hey, stop it already. Shut up, Flush. He said someday we'd go and see the ocean on the other side of the walls. But that was a dream. That was a dream we had as little kids and forgotten it a long time ago. I feel so sorry for Aaron here. He's so small. All I had left inside me was hate, revenge for my mom, wiping out the Titans. But Armin's different. Fighting isn't all he has. He has dreams. Troops, clear the area. Erwin will turn into a Titan and eat Bertolt. Let's go, Mikasa. Oh, so then basically Levi was alone and he took his time to think about everyone's arguments and he came to a certain conclusion. Oh, he just has a little tooth over here, so cute. Salt water that stretches all the way to the horizon. There are even species of fish you can only find there. You still don't believe me, do you? I swear it's there. Just you wait. What happens if that dream of yours comes true? Well, I don't know. And I won't until it does. Fools, all of them. I just want to go to that basement. Like little kids, the way they scream and flail. They couldn't keep going unless they were drunk on something. So in the end it was that Armin had a dream further than the basement and Erwin's dream was the basement. Oh, but he is cute with the little tooth missing. Everyone chose to die so he won't see Aaron's bullshit. So then he looks at Erwin and they were all slaves to something, even him. And then, Sensei, how you find out that they don't exist? Erwin, give up on your dreams and die for us. Lead the recruits straight into hell. I'll take out the Beast Titan. So, yeah, he asked him to give up on his dreams. Levi, thank you. Oh God, he was awake when he got eaten. Oh my God. Hi, Mikey. Oh my God, he was alive. Oh my God. Well, I mean, as far as I feel for him and as much as I understand that he's not the reason for this war, it is the people who are in control of him, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, on a karmic level, it just makes sense that after all the people he's killed and smashed and fed to the Titans, essentially, yeah, of course he'd be eaten by a Titan. But that was always going to be his end, even at home, sadly. But I guess at home, they get knocked out or something. They don't get eaten alive. Hey, all of you, save me. You mean the people you were going to kill, now you want them to save you? Ah, Annie, Rainer. Wait, I have. This is Reiner's head. This is Reiner, okay? I will give you a description of what it was like. That is my rendition to a Titan. And you got to see my ski tooth. What did I say? Did I not say Bertolt? Did I say Reiner? Oh, crap. Okay. Sorry, guys. Reiner just got eaten. This is Bertolt. He's the orange one. I got confused. See, look closely. If you look closely, that definitely has Bertolt written all over him. You see that? Okay. Nom, 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 nom. I remember feeling so shocked about myself when I watched this for the first time. Because I enjoyed seeing Bertolt call for help. Oof. And no one coming to his rescue. Since that's what he did. It's not an enjoyment. I think it's like you feel, see, the life is fair. It's like a sense of relief almost. If someone eats me alive, at least I can trust maybe that in the end they will also be eaten alive. Like karma. She eat the wrong guy. No more season 4. And then of course, when you eat them, you have to wash it down with a little bit of water. From Tuscany. Okay, so he gets eaten. He screams for Annie. He screams for Reiner. Captain, but why? Can't we just let him go? His only choice was to become the devil, and he did it because we asked it of him. He was finally about to be free from this hell, but we were going to call him right back into it, like you were. I think it's time for us to let him rest. Erwin, I know I said I'd take the Beast Titan down, but it's going to have to wait. He's already dead. I see. Oh, look how sad he looks. Oh. I think after Armin turned into toast and then a Titan, his brain got fucked up. I don't know. I feel like there's still story missing. In my opinion, I think there's still like. That's why I'm reading the manga. Something's missing. Something happened. Okay. So then Armin turns back into a human. And they are crying and embracing him. Next up, it begins with, Armin, get down. Hurts. It hurts. Oh my God. That's crazy. Does he have tears in his eyes? He does. Yeah, crying. Episode 85. The basement! We're here! We're here! Bertolt. It hurts. Oh, that's Sasha. These are serious injuries. How did you... Aaron, what's... Oh, and then he hugs him. Welcome back. So, he's up. Captain, what's going on? I don't remember any of this happening. Doubt you would. Oh God, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. Aaron, tell him and don't hold anything back. So, understand, Armin? You're telling me the Survey Corps is now just the 9 of us here? For now, yes. It's been 4 hours since the battle ended. We spent it all looking for survivors, but found none. So the gate to Shiganshina is sealed. You assume Reiner, the Beast Titan, and one other have fled. You successfully captured Bertolt when both Commander Erwin and I were on the brink of death. After a disagreement about who should receive the injection, I turned into a Titan and ate Bertolt. Why did you choose me? Why wouldn't anyone look at the situation and decide to bring back Commander Erwin? Captain, why did you give the injection to me? I said to tell him everything. You should know, your two friends didn't see things that way. They actually went after me with their blades. Huh? We'll accept any punishment you give us. Your insubordination will of course be punished, but this goes far beyond military discipline. Of course. That said, in the end, it was I who chose you. No, I chose this place and time for Erwin's death. Not just ate Armin, you popped his head like a grape. You popped his head like a jelly baby. You smooshed it and savored its sweetness. But I don't understand. There's no way you could let the commander die. If Commander Erwin is gone, then what do we do now? I also think we should have given the injection to Erwin. But Erwin himself entrusted that decision to Levi, and Levi chose you. There's nothing more to say. Except that on your shoulders now rests the weight of Erwin Smith's life and the power of the Titans. And that is why you fucked him up. You gave him stage fright. You put too much pressure. Sad. Too much pressure. The poor boy. That is why you live now, no matter what anyone else says, and we'll be expecting you to contribute even more to humanity. Armin, I'm supposed to be Commander Erwin's replacement? That's absurd. Don't misunderstand. You could never, thank God, Levi, fucking sense. You could never replace Erwin, but it is true that you have a power that no human has. Got that? Don't let us regret this. Not me, not them, not anyone. Where did I blame Levi? That was Hanj blaming Levi. Who blamed Levi? Where did I blame Levi? I said, thank God Levi is stepping up and saying something. And then not even yourself. Make regrets impossible. That is your mission. Sasha. We're no match for Sasha. Well, as Erwin's successor, as commander of the Survey Corps, I guess we're in the same boat. That just means that both of us need to prepare for whatever comes next. Okay. Now then, if you're all right, Armin, I say we get going. Aaron, Mikasa, Levi, and I will complete the survey. The other 4 of you keep watch on the 4 sides of the Shiganshina district. Aaron, you haven't lost the key, have you? No, it's right here. So the fire didn't spread this far, fortunately. Is this the one? Wow. I want to screenshot this. This must have been so exciting in the manga. Does anyone know Min of Meer? More, I said that in Afrikaans by accident. Does anyone know more or less how long was it since we saw this chapter where they run to their house and this chapter where they are back at the basement? Does anyone know how long? That's crazy. I want to tweet this. I'm going to tweet these 2 pages hit hard. Vinland Saga will stream tomorrow on Crunchyroll and Netflix. Tomorrow? So not Tuesdays? Mondays? Oh my god, guys, why do I get everything wrong? Probably at least a day. What? Nope. It's okay, Kayla. At your age, mistakes are forgivable. What mistake did I make? It was Power Rangers in Dark Atmosphere. Anime was good. The anime. What? Okay, anyway. What I want to do is oh, this is cute. No, don't get distracted. Just tweet and leave. Tweet and leave. Desktop. Wing, wing. Motherfucker, did I just copy? I did not want to copy it. These pages hit hard. These 2 pages hit hard. Hashtag Attack on Titan. Hashtag Shingeki no Kyojin. What is Shingeki? Just Shingeki. Shingeki. No. Sorry, guys. 1 more minute. I'm looking through Steam and it's a snooze fest. What games are y'all playing right now? Let me just do this. Shingeki no Kyojin. This chapter is chapter 85. Okay, tweet. And we continue. Okay, so they arrive at the house where it's sad but also beautiful because of how much grass is growing and the it's like an eerie kind of beautiful where there's moss on the rock and it's like little trees coming out. I really like these pages. And they stare at it sadly. Why can't I go down into the basement? Because your father's very important work tools are down there. Hey, Dad, when are you going to show me the basement? I don't know. Maybe when you realize the most important thing of all. What's that mean? Good. Looks like it didn't flood. Moss on the rock. Okay. So then Mikasa, let's go. Eren, why do you want to go inside? I hate the idea of outside. Why do you want to go outside? I hate the idea of spending my whole life inside the wall, ignorant of what's going on outside. Wait, honey, talk some sense into your son. Carla, It doesn't matter what anyone says. There's no holding back an inquisitive mind. Aaron, when I get home, I'll show you what's in the basement that I've been keeping secret all this time. Open it. They never really needed the key. They could have just smashed through there, but I'm joking. What's wrong? Hurry up. This key isn't the key to this door. Ah, of course. But I know that key belonged to Dr. Yeager. Move. I'll open it. Bradash! I remember now. Stay calm. And then they go inside. And it's just your average little office kind of thing. If these labels are accurate, these are just widely available medications. And these are just medical books. At first glance, this looks like a typical doctor's laboratory. It's almost as if the room is telling us there's nothing suspicious here. Well, I doubt he would have left anything forbidden just laying around for the interior MPs to find. Hey, don't just stand there, you brats. Edwin's instinct would never be would never be that off the mark. Yes, sir. Aaron, there's a keyhole here. It's open. It's empty. Look closer. It's a false bottom. Bottom. This smells like peppermint oil and charcoal. They've been treated to keep moisture and bugs away. 3 books. Ah, peppermint oil. Yes, they keep away the spiders. I've heard about that. I used to put peppermint oil in a little spray bottle and walk around my house and spray it everywhere so that the bugs stay away. 3 books. These must be what we're looking for. What could my father have wanted to show me? Intense staring. And then they open it together. Oh. And that's when Erwin asked the question, how do we know that there aren't any humans outside of the wall? He meant that so long as we couldn't travel freely outside the walls, we couldn't be sure that Titans had really wiped out the rest of humanity. Yet the history textbook said that they had, like it was a fact. A textbook containing a mistake in order to mislead and misinform people? No. The government? Organizations? Giving false information? No. Why would they? If the textbook was supposed to be objective, then it would have been correct to say that the rest of humanity is thought to have been eaten. In other words, you would read a subjective intent from that statement, an intent to make people believe that there were no humans outside the walls, and the likeliest culprit was the royal government, which published the book. When I heard him say all that, I made fun of him. You're overthinking things. You're just being stubborn. But look at us now. I think your only option is to apologize to him directly. It's nearly dawn, just the right time for a hero's return. A hero's return. The Survey Corps has just arrived. War Maria has been retaken. They succeeded. Is this a portrait? No, it's far too perfect for any human to have drawn it. On the other side of the image was a message written in my father's handwriting. This is not an illustration. It is an imprint of reflected light left on a special kind of paper. It's called a photograph. I came from beyond the walls where humanity enjoys a refined existence. Humanity has not perished. Dun dun dun! So, this is Dr. Yeager, his wife, his first wife, and his son. His first son. Next up, chapter 86. Ooh, I remember this in the anime. It was definitely not easy to watch. I pray that whoever first finds this book is a fellow patriot. Hooray, Faye! Oh, not hooray. Hurry. Hurry, Faye. Slow down, Grisha. We'll be too late to see it if we don't hurry. Calm down, you two. Haven't I told you to always have your armbands on when you go outside? Grisha, you must absolutely not go past the walls, okay? As I considered where I ought to begin, that day came unbidden into my mind. I know, Mom. Bye, Mom. The day in my youth when I was forced to face the truth of what this world is. Be careful, Grisha. Look where you're walking. Sorry. Wow, how do those things fly? It's full of hydrogen. That's how it floats. I heard they use batteries to power the propeller. Huh. Who's inside it? Someone rich, of course. Hey! Oh, there it goes. Wow, I hope I get rich someday so I can ride in an airship. What are you talking about? There's no way any of us could ever become rich. Yeah, but I just wish. I wonder what you can see from up there. Aw, it's gone. Let's go, Faye. Huh? My teacher said the airships take off and land from a place near here. Let's go see. But Mom said we shouldn't go past the walls. It's time. It's fine. It'll just be for a minute. Let me dash through. Hey, wait, you two. We'll be right back. Move, you vermin. A couple of devil-blooded brats. What are they doing crawling around here? Grisha, it's okay. That always happens, right? And obviously it's wrong of people to think about children like this. But it has been pointed out, and I can also understand the fear when it comes to like thinking, this person right in front of me has the kind of blood that can turn it into a giant monster that can eat me. That is kind of scary, right? So it's easy to brainwash people, to use propaganda or whatever, and take that very real fear in this case, because it's true, right? Even if they don't want it, other people can forcibly turn them into monsters. Remember the wine incident? Can forcibly turn them into monsters, and they can go out of control and eat people. And I mean, as far as these people have been told in history, and that is partly propaganda, but also based in some truths because of the king and everything and how he used the power. That king tried to take over humanity using the blood and the power that comes with the Titans. And so in people's mind, relatively fresh, I think, is these monsters that can eat them. And so that's why it's so easy with that fact that these kids could, even against their own will, turn into monsters and eat you, it's so easy using that fact to tweak some posters and the movies or books and propagandize the population into fearing them. And similar to Inglourious Bastard, where you can look at the squirrel, and even though squirrel and the rat is maybe the same, the rat maybe you're conditioned to dislike more than the squirrel, even though they're both. Because I mean, think about movies. The squirrels are always shown like Snow White and the little squirrels, and she's painting them, blah blah blah, and they're cute and little nuts. And then rats are usually portrayed in a different way. So like, maybe you can't explain it, but you feel differently towards the rat than towards the squirrel, even though they're both rodents, right? And they can both carry diseases. So that's just an interesting thought behind how these people look at these kids. Like, it's easy to say, yes, this is horrible. We know this is horrible. But if we were in the same situation, you would like to believe you'd be different. But the last few years have told me that most people are not different. Not different indeed. It's very easy for people to turn like that. Look, it's right there, just on the other side of the embankment. Oof, I want to talk about something now, but I won't. Let me just, I'll send a message to Cherry afterwards, maybe. I just want to write a note for myself. But I guess it wouldn't be too bad. I guess, I'm not gonna, we continue. It's so big. Come to see the airship too? Yes. You're from the Liberia internment zone, aren't you? Show me your exit permits. I don't have one. So, you enter the city without authorization. Yes. You know what that means for you, right? Yes. Which will it be, labor or punishment? Punishment. Is that message an apology for saying something bad about Levi? Which will it be, labor or punishment? Punishment. Don't want to worry your parents? No, sir. I forced my sister to come here with me. Please punish me in her place, too. All right. And then he kicks him in the stomach. One more. I can't believe it. You're merciless, Kruger. Come on, little girl. Let's get you home first. How does he say you're merciless and then he feeds her to his dogs? What is that? How does that make sense? It was smart of you to keep your armbands on. Any Aldean that takes theirs off out here gets sent straight to your heaven. Even kids like you. I'm going back. Wait. You came to see the airship, didn't you? You're here. You might as well see it. When I got home, my little sister wasn't there. She was found in the river the next day. Why? Was that guy like a pedo? I bet he was a pedo and he didn't feed her to his dogs. He did weird things to her. He was a sick fuck. Why would you just, oh, here's the little girl. I'm gonna go take her home and then, haha, I'll feed her to my dogs. No, that's a front. What? As I've told you over and over again, I took her to the border of Liberia and no farther. I had work to do, and it was her fault to begin with. An Aldean child shouldn't be wandering around town without permission. It seems that your son doesn't, and here it doesn't even say anything about dogs. It just shows a fucked up body. And her eyes gouged out. Like, dogs don't gouge someone's eye out. Hi, Vince. You entered at the very awkward time to say that. It seems that your son doesn't understand what it means to be of his bloodline. You've been teaching him about the ills committed by your ancestors, haven't you? If that's not enough, then throw a collar on him. I knew that this man from the Marley Public Security Authorities was lying. He'd been skipping out on his job and sleeping by the riverside. He can't have been that busy. My mother was overwhelmed with sorrow, while my father, thank you very much for your guidance. Rest assured, I will be sure to teach my foolish son those lessons once again, demeaned himself in front of these men. I looked at my father and this man, and I began to hate them so much that it made me dizzy. But even more than that, I cursed my own foolishness. Yes, we are reading Attack on Titan, chapter 86, if you would like to read along with us. 1,820 years ago, our ancestor Ymir Fritz made a contract with the Earth Devil in exchange for power. The power of Titans. After her death, Ymir's soul was split into 9 Titans who built the empire of Eldia. Eldia was a great and ancient nation that destroyed Marley and came to rule our continent. Eldia was a great nation that destroyed Marley and came to rule our continent. That is when the Dark Ages began. Is this like kind of inspired by... Wasn't there also a Dark Ages? When were the Dark Ages? The Dark Ages were 476 AD to 1000 AD. The Dark Ages were between the 5th and the 14th centuries, lasting 900 years. The timeline falls between the fall of the Roman Empire and the Renaissance. It has been called the Dark Ages because many suggest that this period saw little scientific and cultural advancement. The Dark Ages began at the Roma. A global cold front swept across the earth, making farming difficult and causing groups of people to die out. As the Roman Empire fell apart, new groups of peoples, barbarians, scattered across the land. So it was like a cold front that went over the whole world. Global warming, guys. It was all the cars and shit. And the spray. Sorry, just a joke. Ooh, Iwage, thank you. Welcome. It says here there were 5 major causes of the Dark Ages. And we have to take into account that in history books in Attack on Titan were doctored. So we always have to consider that there is a possibility for even our books to be doctored a little. So we have to read from many sources. At least that's the best bet we have. Europe's Dark Ages have captivated people for centuries. There's been whole history textbooks written about them. They're shrouded in mystery and myth. From them we get stories like Canterbury Tales and King Arthur and Camelot. There's an entire genre of literature we call fantasy that usually draws on the historical costumes, weapons, and customs of the time. But why was Europe plunged into what the historians call a dark age? What happened? Where did all the knowledge of the Greek and Romans go? Why did people forget how to read and write, sculpt and build? A lot of books and a lot of people like to put it down to 1 or 2 factors, but it isn't as simple as that. The fall of the Roman Empire is number 1. The end of the world began in AD 476 when Odoacer deposed Emperor Romulus. The great Roman Empire had been falling apart for hundreds of years, but that was the final straw. Rome fell into chaos and ruin, into the hands of the various tribes. The city was sacked, its occupants put to the sword, and the barbarian tribes moved in. With Rome gone, a chain of unstoppable events was unleashed. Libraries fell into disrepair. The unifying languages, Greek and Latin, fell out of use, and people could no longer communicate with each other. With Rome no longer producing a safe environment for learning, philosophy, and science, nobody could keep up the great conversation or make scientific discoveries. The architecture and learning and thoughts of the empire were completely forgotten in the wake of its fall from greatness. The Little Ice Age, from about AD 950 to AD 1250, around the time of William the Conqueror and the Battle of Hastings, the world enjoyed a warm period. After that, however, the world began to get colder and colder because it's nature. It's natural for the earth to go through cycles. I think trying to stop that could be very dangerous. Similar to, remember how in Arabasta there was rain powder, but then you could make it rain and that's nice, but then you basically stole rain from other places and stuff like that, or stole moisture from the air from other places. So yeah, anyway, this phenomenon began around AD 1300 and lasted in varying degrees all the way up to 1850. Nobody knows exactly what caused it. Some cite changes in ocean circulation or a decrease in human population. The point is, when the cold hit Europe, it was a devastating blow. Up until the Industrial Revolution, Europe was primarily an agrarian society. People just couldn't grow enough crops to survive, and this, of course, leads to our next point: famine. The Little Ice Age ushered in a period of horrible famine for Europe. The overwhelming cold, the cold that stole up on Europe on little kitten feet. What is this? Genghis Khan? He killed people in Europe? The overwhelming cold, the cold that stole up on Europe on little kitten feet, stole food right out of the mouths of sleeping children. That is a bad way to say that, but okay. The trouble with famine is that it's really hard to think about scientific discovery and the art and mathematics and culture when it's all you can do to survive. People started to drop like flies. They worked their 13th century butts off just to put food on their mouths. How can you write? What kind of writer is this? In one sentence you say, the cold that stole up on Europe on little kitten feet stole food right out of the mouths of sleeping children. And then you're like, they worked their 13th century butts off. Like, that is so inconsistent. That's bad writing. I don't like bad writing. Just to put food in their mouth, and the food wasn't usually very nutritious. People's immune systems broke down, and it isn't hard for historians to piece together where this all was headed. The Black Plague. Ooh, look at this picture. Rome has fallen. The world's plunged into a cold, pitch-black, chaotic hell. Crops won't grow. Children aren't being fed. People's bodies are weaker than ever. The science and medicine of the ancients has all been... That's interesting. The science and the medicine of the ancients has been all but forgotten. Nobody understands the concept of contamination or germs. People are living in close, crammed, dirty quarters, all together with animals and manure. It's a recipe for disaster. In 1347, 3 Genoese ships docked in a Sicilian port of Messina after crossing the Black Sea. The rest of the article seems fine. It's just that one paragraph was probably outsourced to someone else, and they did a very bad job. Most of the sailors aboard were dead or gravely ill. Their bodies were covered in boils that no one had ever seen before. Black boils that bled and oozed pus. Even though the authorities tried to hurry the ships out of the harbor, it was too late. Within the next 5 years alone, Europe would lose 20 million people to the Black Death, over a third of the living population. With a third of the population dead, people turned to superstition instead of science, too terrified of things they didn't understand. Kind of makes me think of Attack on Titan as well, where a third of the population was sent on a suicide mission, essentially. And that actually ended up saving a lot of people horribly because there was more food to go around. Nobody had the time or courage to make any discoveries or work on any art, or poetry or music. Everyone was too busy dying. That's also a very bad phrase. Bad phrase. Nobody had the time or courage to make any discoveries. They were too busy dying. Bad writing. A lack of good roads. This is surprisingly the crushing blow, not the fall of Rome, not the Black Plague or the famine or wars or the Little Ice Age, but the simple fact that people couldn't circulate. When Rome fell, there was nobody there to maintain the roads, nobody to protect travelers. The roads fell into disrepair. Traveling became dangerous. This is actually, it makes me think of an interesting point from recently that I watched a video where, and don't take offense at this, please. It's just an interesting thought. Where this guy was talking to this girl, and she was like, you know what? I love men, but I don't need men to survive. And the guy was just like, no, well, see, actually you do, because all the roads, all the infrastructure, anything, all the jobs that, like, something as simple as keeping your streets clean, trash guys. What are they called? Trash men? Garbage men. They're keeping your streets clean, all this kind of stuff on a very basic level. And of course, you know, in a world without men, I'm sure women would learn to do it if they had to. But if men were just to disappear like that, right now, on a very basic level, we need those men that are, you know, cleaning our streets, maintaining the infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. It was kind of interesting to see her face as she's trying to process just how much men do. You know? But anyway, yeah, this, surprisingly, this was the crushing blow. The roads fell into disrepair, traveling became dangerous, people went missing or died. It became commonplace for people to be born and to live and die all in the same place. If nobody moved, nobody was communicating. Language barriers and dialects developed. Communication is to learning as oxygen is to fire. Because of the lack of good roads, there was a lack of dialogue. Even if there was someone writing or making discoveries, they had no way of getting them out there to peers or the public. Learning was an isolated, slow affair, and it would be until the first printing press. It would be until the first printing press was invented and books began to circulate en masse around Europe. That makes no sense. The Dark Ages is a complicated conundrum that continues to fascinate historians to this day. There's a person that comments here saying, the so-called Dark Ages, more accurately the Middle Ages, began about AD 500. Sorry, but you can't attribute the cause of the Dark Ages to the Black Death, which occurred nearly 1,000 years later? What? The Black Death, Ice Age, etc. are not part of the Dark Ages. The earlier Justinian... No, but this article is about what might have led to the Dark Ages. The Renaissance was from roughly 1300 to 1600 and is considered the end of the Dark Ages. So the Little Ice Age was beginning about the time the Dark Ages were ending. Actually, the Renaissance was 14th century to the 17th century. So yes, the Black Plague could have attributed to the Dark Ages. Jeremy, you are an idiot. Oh no, they said you're an idiot, but they spelled it Y-O-U-R. Oh God, that's why I said you have to read multiple sources, and because actually there's no way to really know. And then there's another article on the history. Oh, the history. Sorry, we have trailed off here, but this, what is this? Thehistory.com. 6 reasons the Dark Ages were not so dark. Someone shared this link in the comments. The idea of the Dark Ages come from later scholars who were heavily biased towards ancient Rome. The church replaced the Roman Empire as the most powerful force in Europe, redefining the relationship between the church and the state. The growth of monasticism had important implications for later Western values and... Okay, this I'll have to read it in my own time. The early Middle Ages were boom times for agriculture. Great advances were made in science and math in the Islamic world. But I mean, this mostly did focus on Europe, so I didn't assume it meant the whole world. The Carolingian Renaissance saw a flowering in the arts, literature, architecture, and other cultural realms. Okay, but anyway, as I said, you have to read multiple sources. Let's continue. Attack on Titan! I was just wondering if this was maybe because the Eldia was great, an ancient nation that destroyed Marley, and Marley was like a more advanced... They have these little specific helmets and stuff. It must be referencing or inspired by some real world civilizations, right? The Black Plague could have been prevented if the church didn't encourage people to kill cats. Is that why cats were revered in Egypt? Why did they encourage people to kill cats? Very eastern part of Europe was still controlled by Roman people even after the fall of Rome for hundreds of years. History is fucking confusing. There's like too many people and biases and missing information and made up information, and they saw cats related to witches. Oh my god. They thought they would transmit the diseases, so they wanted to kill cats. But then they ended up creating diseases by killing the cats. Cats smell really bad when they die. Well, I don't know. I've never actually smelled a dead dog, because what happened when I was growing up, there were some Satanist people that sacrificed cats and stuff. So there was a certain smell if you walk through an alleyway where people can easily like do bad things. I remember it smelling bad, and then my mom would be like, no, it's a dead cat. I never smelled a dead dog though, because when dogs die, people bury them. Because people love their dogs generally more than they love their cats, because dogs are more sociable in general. They wanted people to kill cats, and since there were a lack of cats, rodents were everywhere, and the Black Plague was transferred by fleas on rats and mouses. Oh, interesting. Okay. After her death, Ymir's soul was split into 9 titans who built the empire of Eldia. Eldia was a great and ancient nation that destroyed Marley and came to rule our continent. That is when the Dark Ages began. Ooh, you see, that's where I wanted to research it. The subjects of Ymir, who had gained the power to turn into titans, designated all other people and races as inferior and began to oppress them, because they couldn't turn into titans. So the king, we remember from later in the anime, the king saw himself and his family as the strongest and the rulers. You know, perfect for Shigaraki's world. The biggest, the baddest, the strongest. That's what we learned later, right? What happened? They stole away their land and possessions, wiping many bloodlines out entirely. Eldians forced other people to have their children so that Ymir would have more subjects. This ethnic cleansing lasted for around 1,700 years. That is fucking insane. Whoa. So at this time in the manga, we didn't know if this was true or not, right? Because this could just be propaganda, just lies. But we have since learned from season 4 that this king And this Eldian race, it wasn't so much Ymir doing it. She was obviously being used and abused by this big bad king, right? So technically, this did happen, but it was this greedy, power-hungry king, if I remember correctly. Eldia's arrogance grew to no limits, but the people of the once great nation of Marley began to plot against them from within. They were able to incite a civil war, weakening Eldia, and this was also partly thanks to Willie's family, right? As far as we know. Not only that, they brought 7 of the 9 Titans under their control and were victorious in the Great Titan War 80 years ago. So it lasted for 1,700 years, and then 80 years ago, there was a Great Titan War where they got some Titans under their control because of the Willy family or whatever, I don't remember their name. And so it was our Titans versus their Titans. But it still would have been a very difficult war because, well, who had the main Titan? The one that can control the Titans? I don't know. King Fritz was left only with the island of Paradis, where he built 3 concentric walls in which he and his people took refuge. This was 80 years ago. This was not... Oh my god. World War II was 75 years ago, and there are a lot of parallels with World War II, right? Okay. King Fritz was left only with the island of Paradis, where he built 3 concentric walls, but not all of them. Us non-Marleyan Eldians remained. The king abandoned us and left us behind on this continent. It would have been fitting for Marley to eradicate us all, but the fact that we expected that only shows that we are descended from devils. Instead, the tolerant people of Marley showed us mercy. They gave us land we could live on. My father was talkative for someone who had just lost his daughter. As he stood there defending his masters and happily belittling his ancestors, he looked just like a dog. That man was lying. He lied because the truth was inconvenient for him. That man knows something. Don't say it. The walls around here are thin. I think that man took Faye and... Shut up! But I think this guy doesn't want to hear it because he's still trying to convince himself that he doesn't want to face the truth because it's scary and he is powerless. And how can you live with yourself if that happened to your daughter and you can do nothing? Didn't I tell you? Our ancestors were heinous criminals. They believed in eugenics and committed suicide. Devil's blood runs through our veins. I didn't do any of that, and neither did Faye. All we did was go for a walk. Interesting. Oi! I want to screenshot. Save. Are you guys still alive in the chat? What is wrong with you? Are you that eager to get sent to heaven together with your father and mother? The Yeager family distrusts and despises the public security authorities. All it would take is a rumor like that, and we'd be done for. Understand, Grisha? We may not have done anything ourselves, but that doesn't matter to those who were victimized for generations. 1,700 years. But it doesn't matter if it was for 1,700 years. This child did nothing. But a lot of people in today's times wouldn't agree with that. Right? Oh, hi, Dave. How you doing? There's a lot of people, thousands, today that will not agree with Grisha. They would think that the children and innocent people have to somehow pay for their ancestors' mistakes. Like, I remember our government in particular is one of the most corrupt, is probably, I think factually, top 3 most corrupt governments in the world. And that's only what has been proven. But anyway, and if they had used all the money that they've squandered, if they've used it to actually solve problems in our country would be very well off, considering its resources and potential. But they fuck it up by stealing and stuff, and not to benefit their people, just to benefit themselves. And then they keep the people distracted by pointing to apartheid and white people and how what was done to them, I don't know, in before, I think it ended in 1992 or something. There was obviously riots and fights to end it, but I think it ended. Mandela became president. When did Mandela? Anyway, in 1994 he officially was president, but it ended before that. So it's been a long time, and I was born in 1993, so obviously I had nothing to do with all the bad things that happened, but our government still points to that time and says, that's why you're suffering. That's why you have no food. Not because we steal billions. No, it's their fault. It's because of, 25 years ago. And 25 years, wait. How many? No, 35. What year is it? Let me see here. 2023 minus 2023 minus 1992, 31 years. So 31 years is obviously, it's a short time. But if they had used the billions that they've stolen, they could have fixed so many issues, but they don't, because it's so much easier to just point and say, no, but it's their fault, it's their fault. And even recently, there was a speech where our president said that the white people have no power in this country. You don't need to fear them. Their time is over. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? But they can say shit like that, and they don't. And because they say shit like that all the time, and they talk nonsense, that's why they don't have to stand on the podium and actually explain, where are the billions that get stolen every year? Why do you get 30 million rand to build a football field, and then we can go to that football field and it costs maybe 50,000 rand to make? Where is the other 2,900,980,000? Where's the rest? Oh, you stole it? You didn't use it to feed people? You bought a house in fucking Dubai? Or I guess that would just be, I just spat again. That would just be a down payment for a house, not even buying a fucking house there. But they steal millions. Why don't they use that money for food and the infrastructure, job creation, education? No, because it's easier to say, it's the white people. Dude, I was not alive. Divide and conquer is something that has always worked. True that. Anyway, sorry. Personal annoyance. All we can do is stay in this internment zone and lead simple, quiet, modest lives. Please, Grisha, don't bring your parents the same fate that befell Faye. Yes, sir. Who was in the wrong? Me or this world? Oh, definitely the world. Definitely. I understand. It was probably both. How? What did you do? How was it you? In any way, at that age? It was the world. I was foolish and ignorant, and the world was unfair and insane. I discovered my own path when I was 18. I was making plans to take over running my father's clinic, indifferent to it all. That cross-shaped cut, what happened to you? This is proof that I am a patriot. All right. Your little sister was killed by a man in the Marley authorities. We have an informant inside the Marley government. He gave me that information. I'll tell you more if you agree to help us. If you say you'll lend a hand to the elder restorationists. I worked in the field of medicine, and I bore a deep hatred of the Marley government. I feel like in these kind of... There's so much to learn from Attack on Titan because we knew what they did wrong too, the restorationists, right? Because there is a way to acknowledge the wrongs of the past and our responsibility to everyone of the present. And like, I'd be more than happy to pay my taxes and pay the government millions, because they are paid millions for taxes and blah, 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 so that they could use the money to help the country. Like, there were mistakes and this and that happened, not done by me, but by other people. I want our country to be better and do better for its people. So let's use the money right. Let's create opportunities. Focus the money into education, job creation, opportunities, potential. Like, there's so much. So my point is, there's ways to acknowledge the past and right the wrongs without just flipping the switch. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping the wheel turning. It's like the whole Game of Thrones. You break the wheel, blah, 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 blah. We don't have to break the wheel. You just turn it on its side. So no one ever gets squashed at the bottom. You can use it for something else. Sorry. Anyway. The underground anti-establishment group known as the LDR Restorationists took note of these 2 points and came to recruit me. When I learned the truth of what happened to my little sister, I made a vow to myself. I teach them, oh, here is where it shows the dogs. I still think the author is hiding what truly happened. Because why? But I guess you can't understand. You can't understand people like that. I teach them who the true devils were. What our ancestors had done was right. See, and there's where you cross the line. There's where you make the mistake. There's where you go off the rails. He doesn't... So, like, you don't understand. You see, what happened to your sister was wrong, yes. But how do you go from that to my ancestors were right? Because you don't think that these people are doing this because this is what in their mind happened to their sisters and brothers and wives. If we wanted to set the world right once more, we had to bring Eldia back to power. Again. It's fucking the same thing. The informant led the restorationists from the shadows. We knew him only as the Owl. Oh, and that makes me want to read The Promised Neverland again. The owl supplied us with weapons and funds and gave us historical documents that Eldians in those days had forgotten about. Look, this is the truth. Our ancestor Ymir awakened the power of the Titans, cultivated the wastes, built the roads, and erected bridges to span mountains. Well, yeah, you could do stuff like that if you have giant monster powers. It'll be quite easy to get some shit done, my friend. Or they're just psychopaths and just look for excuses to hurt people. In other words, it was wealth that our ancestor Ymir brought to mankind. They enriched the people and... Well, she enriched the people and developed this continent. So all that history they taught us in school was a bunch of delusions created to make Marley look good. I knew it. That's right. They may be able to trick those fools, but it won't work on us. The true Eldians. I'm impressed you were able to read this ancient language, though. No, I've barely been able to decipher any of it. How did you come to learn these truths? Isn't it obvious from looking? I believe in our ancestor Ymir. We are the chosen children of God, the subjects of Ymir. No, you're Marley 2.0, my friend. I think so. I'm sorry. You're just more of the same at this point. Or more of the similar. Comrades, the owl has sent us someone. Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you. It's an honor to be able to meet this many comrades. My name is Dina Fritz. I am a descendant of the royal family. I decided to devote myself to wherever fate took me. There was a branch of the royal family that refused to flee to the island at the end of the Great Titan War and stayed on the continent. She was now... Oh, they refused to leave with the rest of the royal family. She was now the only descendant of that group. Her family waited for the day that Eldia would rise again, hiding in the internment zone with their knowledge of the Titans. The information she brought the revivalists was nothing short of a path to victory. I'm sure of it. When you add in the government information the owl sent us, it's a certainty. The founding Titan, which King Fritz took with him inside the walls, that is the key to Eldia's restoration. The founding Titan has the ability to rule and control all other Titans. If only we can get our hands on it, we will be able to destroy Marley once more. You mean that the thing that got you into this horrible, awful, unjust situation in the first place, you want to do it again? Makes sense? How can it? Of course. Doing the same thing twice will bring a different result. But if King Fritz has that kind of absolute power, why did he retreat to the island? That is, because he refused to fight. The Great Titan War began when the 145th king inherited the founding Titan. 145th. Even before then, the families fighting over 8 Titans had been locked in constant conflict for generations. The families fighting over 8 Titans had been locked in constant conflict. So even amongst themselves, they were fighting. Because that's just human nature. Yet, as long as the royal family could summon the founding Titan, order was maintained. But the 145th king abandoned those duties and moved the capital to a remote island. So he felt guilty, right? And instead of, taking responsibility as best as he could, he became a martyr, I guess. Like, oh, it's all our fault. We deserve to die. We should never fight again. Which is also not right. It's like the opposite. Just the other extreme. But the 100... Wait, did I take a picture of this? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Our family could not agree with that, causing us to part ways. These pitiful days, these years of suffering, all started when the king turned away from conflict. Then let us fight. It's clear what we have to do. We'll take back the founding titan from the king who abandoned us and fled inside those walls. And don't get me wrong, I understand it's very, from their perspective, from their level of thinking or power in society, it's very difficult to think, okay, how do we change things? How do we gain equal rights? We become the oppressor. That is, from that perspective, it's a very simple solution. If we don't want to be oppressed, become the oppressors. It's difficult. It's 20 times, 100 times more difficult to think of a different solution where we can show them that we can live equally. It's so much easier to just be like, well, we'll just fuck them up. If they want to oppress us, we'll oppress them. Even though they're oppressing us because of our ancestors. But they don't believe at this point that their ancestors oppressed anyone. Even though he can't decipher the past whatevers, he believes that because that's what he wants to believe. He thinks the Eldians were amazing and they just brought goodness, and the Marley jealous, I guess. And then, so they don't believe that, but they're wrong. So that's the sad part. They're blinded by justifiable anger and fear. But if their anger is justifiable, then for 1,700 years, their anger was justifiable and their fear is justifiable. Is if the only thing we ever focus on is, it's so sad. How can they think differently? It's his sister died. Well, if you never look past what is right here in your face right now, and you just rely on your animal brain to be like, I become alpha. I don't know. We're not going to get very far. At some point, someone has to stand up and say, maybe we try something different. Maybe we don't become what we hate. That could be a good option. Maybe someone has to say it. But no, then I say it. Then what have people called me? Oh, one, to put it nicely. Oh, you are ignorant and naive. Yes, because your ways have worked. You are so smart. Yes, okay. And then we will offer it to the true royal family, the line that stayed behind on this continent for the sake of us, the Eldian people. My brothers, let us overthrow Marley. Let us correct the errors of history, and let us regain our pride as Eldians. My brothers, we fight until the day Eldia returns. We were married the next year, and were blessed with a baby boy. His name was Zeke, a child with royal blood. I'm sure he'll one day help lead us to victory. That's the first thing you think of when you see your baby boy. You don't look at that child and want a world where he can be the boot, stepping on people's skulls. You want to look at that child and create a world where there are no boots. For fuck's sake. We're all people. Make the rules together and keep each other accountable. But okay, easier said than done, I know. It's a difficult thing. It's so much easier to just be the boot. But all that does is create a cycle of boot, new boot. Who wears the boot now? New boot. Fuck. One age turned to another and people changed. Just as the world was growing rapidly, a turning point came. for the Eldia restorationists. Listen carefully, you Eldians. We, the Marley government, have decided to gather warriors of Marley from among you, the subjects of Ymir. We have received a proclamation from King Fritz, that incarnation of evil who fled to the islands of Paradis. He claimed that soon Eldia would rule the world once again, control this continent through reign of terror. What happened here? Who? He didn't say that. Who said this? Was it the owl? We must smash these despicable ambitions of his to pieces, and that is why we will spend years selecting warriors from the internment zones around the continent. Healthy boys and girls from age 5 to 7 will be gathered as potential warriors. However, only a small few will become those, chosen warriors. For these warriors must be worthy of inheriting the 7 titans now under the Marley government's control. How? Where? Who? So much mystery. Furthermore, the families of these chosen warriors will be given the title of honorary Marleyans, and we will ensure their freedom within this country. So, you Eldians, it's time for you to show your allegiance to Marley. What's the meaning of this? No, it's hard to imagine he would. Oh, did King Fritz declare war? No. What could have... It's here! A message from the owl! I'm going to read it. The reason the Marley government has now decided to move is so it can be the first... Oh, so they lied. They lied about a war declaration so that they can do this operation. Is so it can be the first to adapt to the coming struggles over resources. But why would they need to lie? They're in control. They're all got all the power. Why would they need to lie? Who decided to lie? They could just say, there will be resource struggles. You will fight for us and to be honorary Marleyans. Like, why would they need to lie? But okay, it doesn't really matter. The reason the Marley government has now decided to move is so that it can be the first to adapt to the coming struggles over resources. As you know, incredible advances in military technology have been made in recent years. Marley now uses the power of the 7 titans to maintain its position as leader of the world. But the day will soon come when this power is no longer absolute. We are sure to see an age where military power, backed by fuel, determines the state of the world. As we approach this age, Marley can no longer afford to ignore the island of Paradis, which is said to have massive amounts of fossil fuels buried under it. But conquering that island is still no easy feat. While we still have not heard anything from King Fritz ever since he hid himself away behind the walls, he left behind these words 80 years ago. If ever you try to interfere in our affairs, the tens of millions of titans that sleep inside the walls will surely flatten the entire earth. So long as this threat exists, no one can lay a finger on him directly. In other words, the Marley government's goal is the same as ours. So basically, he's going to nuke the world. In other words, the Marley government's goal is the same as ours. Enter the walls without provoking King Fritz. The Marley government's goal is the same as ours. Enter the walls without provoking King Fritz and retake the founding titan. What now? At this rate, all our plans, Marley will overtake us in just a few years. And once that happens, Eldia will never rise again. No, there's still an option left to us. We'll make my son Zeke into one of Marley's warriors. How did that go for you, Grisha? How did that go for you? That was how I came to entrust my son with the pride of Eldia, while also sending him to be a warrior of Marley who pledged his allegiance to an enemy state. But in the end, I was still the same foolish child I had been that day. Yeah, you took your son by the hand and ran past the walls. And this time you don't have an excuse because you're a fucking adult, not a child. Around the time my son turned 7, he betrayed both me and my wife to the Marley government. The revivalists were all sent to our heaven, doomed to join the man-eating titans that wandered the island of Paradis for eternity. The end. Attack on school castes. What is this? Mikasa, occult lover, the goth trying to figure out a curse she can use to repel Jean, who won't stop bothering her. Armin, the geek, otaku, a PC-obsessed anime lover. Marco, homework-obsessed nerd, the brain, otaku buddies with Armin. Sasha, the weird girl, the floater, isn't really able to differentiate between things she can and can't eat. Connie, the slacker. Jean, delinquent, the bad boy, acts bad because he thinks it'll get him girls. Annie, delinquent, the bad girl, finds it extremely unpleasant that people consider her and Jean to be in the same category. Aaron, nothing in particular, the regular person, not part of the popular crowd or the nerds. No dreams or ambitions. Hitch, hanger-on, the wannabe wants to become friends with Historia and leech off her popularity. Marlowe, the prep, tries to get everyone he sees to help out his charitable and political causes. Bertolt, the messenger, used by Reiner. Reiner, the school's king, the jock, popular at school but somewhat lacking in tact. Historia, the school's queen, the queen bee, the daughter of socialites who has never had to want for anything, bored with her school life. Emir, the pleaser, spoils Historia in hopes of making herself seem indispensable. What are school castes? The hierarchical relationships observed between students within the society that is a school, blah, 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 blah. Target, geek, goth, brain, messenger, prep, slacker, pleaser, wannabe, sidekicks, queen bee, and jock. Floater, bad the boys. What was I? I think I was a floater. I was a weird girl. I was a little bit of loser in me. Attack on Titan is in that heavy point. I can mostly hear you talking because I have no words. Yeah, it is in a heavy point. The cruel story of the walled world and the Yeagers begins. But that will be for next time because it is 11 p.m. And that means the weekend is over. But it's fine. I have lots of things planned for the week. Tomorrow, Licorice Recoil and Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World for Fansly. And also One Piece manga, which I will do. I will do it. Tuesday, well, apparently, Vinland Saga comes out tomorrow. Is that true? Tomorrow? When does it come out? Just need to start on time. But the nice part about not streaming is that I don't have to start on time. I can be more flexible. I'll start when I want to start. If I do Licorice, Harem, and the manga, that's just 3 hours of sitting and doing. So I should start around 6 p.m. at the latest. Not bad. But at 6 p.m. it's still light outside. I want to sit outside when it's light outside. Tiago said Monday, so then that's tomorrow. So then I'll do One Piece manga on Tuesday and Vinland Saga Season 2 Episode 1 tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, that's fine. And then on Tuesday, 2 fansly reactions, manga. Wednesday is Mike's birthday. I want fresh air. Wednesday is Mike's birthday. Thursday is Avatar. And Friday is Modru's sponsor day with Violet Evergarden. Woo! You can stream in the backyard. On a Monday. The Attack on Titan story is truly unmatched. Remember when I believed in Grisha till you found out this man was full of bullshit and delusion? Huh? I don't understand your last sentence, but I kind of understand it. But yeah, the story takes a lot of twists and turns when it shows you just some details and then it shows you other details and then it shows you the big picture. It takes a lot of twists and turns because I do think a lot of what Grisha says is right and they should fight back and they have a lot to fight for. You can't just roll over and die and accept your fate. But they take it a step too far by saying we have to, like, our ancestors were right. No, your ancestors were wrong. Marley at the moment is wrong and you need to fight for a better present. But no, they're not fighting for a better present. They're fighting to bring the bad past back. They want to be the one that gets to feed little sisters to dogs. But as I said, his feelings, first of all, he's a traumatized child, so his mind probably works very different compared to our minds, maybe the average person. Then secondly, if you've been told your whole life that you're a fucking demon, I feel like you're going to start acting a little bit like one, so. Also, he out of desperation, he reads this history and he doesn't understand it, but he wants to believe, oh, actually we did great things and they were right. And so he convinces himself, and obviously people in groups as well. What's that George Carlin quote about people in groups? The larger the group, the more toxic. The more of your beauty as an individual you have to surrender for the sake of group thought. And when you suspend your individual beauty, you also give up a lot of your humanity. You will do things in the name of a group that you would never do on your own. I've never seen Violet Evergarden myself, so I'm excited to see how it is. And I'm so excited because it has a Mikasa's voice actress as the main character. So I love her VA. Okay. Thank you guys for a wonderful weekend of wonderful streams and fun. And I will be posting fun videos this week pretty much every day. Except for Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday I'm off, but I'll be there on the internet chatting to you guys. So, thank you for a great weekend of streaming. I hope you enjoyed the new week and that you'll be able to enjoy the sun at the beach sometime this week. Have a good night's sleep. Thank you, friends. It was a nice, relaxing morning. Ah, yes! Relaxing! I feel so relaxed and not stressed out and angry at all. Oh, no, it was nice. Thanks, Dark Shadow. Thanks, Nax. Thanks, Modri and Spade. Mike, Cherry, if you're still awake. Sotos. You made my lazy day in bed 1,000 times better. Oh, yes, me. It was fun like always. Thank you, guys. I love you. And I look forward to next weekend a lot. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But Avatar on Thursday. I'll see you soon. On most of you on Discord and some of you on Twitter and so on and so on. Thank you. It was really nice to listen to you while working. Oh, yes, me. Happy Monday. Bye.